Hello, recruit, and welcome to Astroneer Academy 205 Gateway Chambers. Today is a big step in your adventures as an Astroneer, as we will begin solving some of the very first mysteries you encounter as you travel across the solar system. I should warn you, though, there are spoilers ahead. If you are the type of Astroneer who prefers to discover things for yourself, well, you have been warned. Nearly every single Astroneer has experienced it. You are wondering about the planet, looking for resources, hoping you'll get lucky and maybe score a nice batch of ammonium. Or maybe you're out scouring wreckage looking for batteries, small solar panels, or anything else that will help you finally feed your power-hungry research chamber. In the distance, you spot something strange rising up into the clouds. A swirling beam of... wait, is it smoke? Energy? A light? You must investigate, so you plot your course directly toward that beam. And then you see it. What is that? As you near this massive purple structure, you begin to hear music you've never heard before now. As you gaze into the glass-like surface, you see a deep star field that seems to be impossible. It's almost as if you're staring into space itself. Those stars appear to go far deeper than the size of this thing would make possible. As you continue to investigate, you notice 3 upside-down pyramids, one near each edge. And is that a power cable? Can I plug this into my power-hungry research chamber and finally get it running at full speed? The longer you investigate this mysterious purple structure, the longer your list of questions grow. And today, my dear recruit, we are going to answer all of those questions. And look, this is your final warning. We are heading into deep spoiler territory from here on out. This giant purple structure you have discovered is a gateway chamber. Now you're probably thinking, a gateway to what? Don't worry, we'll get to that. But let's start off with a few things that we do not know about gateway chambers. We don't know who built these impressive structures. We have absolutely no idea how they were built, and we don't really even know why it has music. And of course, it's a mystery what that stuff swirling up into the sky is made of. But we do know what a gateway chamber is and what it does. You will find gateway chambers on every planet and moon that you visit. There are 6 gateway chambers on each planet. There's 1 each at the north and south poles, and 4 more spread evenly across the equator. On each of the 2 moons in our solar system, you will find 2 additional gateway chambers, each of them on the equator and on opposite sides of the moon. With everything that you've learned about navigation in Astroneer Academy 201, you should have no trouble locating each and every one of these gateway chambers. Gateway chambers are, for the most part, fairly easy to access. Granted, some of them will appear to defy gravity as they float in the air, while some of them seem to have been forgotten to time and are mostly covered in soil or even mountains. But some portion of each gateway chamber will always be visible, and each one will have that beam reaching into the clouds. If you're having difficulty locating all of the gateway chambers on each planet and moon, ask another astroneer to join you. One of you can jump into a shuttle and launch into orbit around the planet on the lookout for that telltale beam being emitted from the top of each gateway chamber. The shuttle occupant will also see a beacon for the astroneer still on the ground, and they can now begin guiding their ground-based friend toward the gateway chamber. The mystery of the gateway chamber began to unravel the moment that you noticed the power cables on the inverted pyramids. No, recruit, the gateway chamber is not going to finally get your research chamber fully powered. Instead, the gateway chamber is trying to communicate with you that it requires power to be activated. Yeah, you heard me right, activated. Like many things in our solar system, the gateway chambers on each planet and moon require an ever-increasing amount of power to become activated. Once you input the required units per second, a gateway chamber will take 30 seconds to fully activate. And what a magical, awe-inspiring 30 seconds it is. If you don't provide enough power, the activation sequence just simply will not begin. But pay close attention. Did you see those structures rise up in the middle? And did you notice that they have their own form of power meter? The gateway chamber will do its best to communicate to you how much more power you need. Of course, you are an Astroneer Academy recruit, so you don't need to guess. Instead, here are the power requirements for each planet. On Silva, you need 5 units per second. On Decilo, you're going to need 8 units per second. Gateway chambers on Calidor require 12 units per second. On Visanya, you will need to provide 16 units per second. On Novus, the activation sequence will not begin until you supply 21 units per second. Glacio's gateway chambers require 26 units per second, and Atrox, being the most difficult planet, requires a staggering 30 units per second to activate a gateway chamber. A moment ago, we discussed that the activation sequence for a gateway chamber takes 30 seconds. You must apply the full power requirement for the duration of the activation sequence. If you do not, the activation will fail and the gateway chamber will audibly notify you of your failures. So be certain that your generators are fueled and your batteries are fully charged. If you're going to use wind turbines, you better hope the wind keeps blowing for a full 30 seconds. And if you're using solar power, be certain you start the activation the moment the sun comes up to ensure that you get the full use of the sun's rays. Once you have fully activated the first gateway chamber on a planet, another mystery appears in the form of the odd stone. It invites you to gaze into it, and when you do, a holographic display appears with 6 points, or nodes, around the edges, and there's one in the middle. One of these nodes will be labeled as a bright node, while all the others will be labeled as dim nodes. Each of the surface nodes has a corresponding number, and we'll discuss the significance of that number in just a moment. Now, you might have already worked it out, but that bright node represents the gateway chamber you just activated. You may also notice that the bright node also has a glowing orb in the center of it. That orb indicates your current location in relation to the other nodes. The dim nodes are all of the remaining gateway chambers that you have yet to activate on the planet. If you try to select one of them, you're met with an audible reminder that you have not yet activated the corresponding gateway chamber. And as far as that interior elevation dim node, we'll discuss that mystery in Astroneer Academy 303. Suffice to say, gateway chambers are the keys to unlocking much deeper mysteries. So, you have a bright surface elevation node. So, now what? Well, while one of them will assist you with deeper mysteries yet to come, you still have some work to do on the surface. Activating every gateway chamber is key to unlocking an Astroneer achievement, so you really should get started. The process is the same for each gateway chamber. Supply the required power for 30 seconds, and you activate them. When you do get around to activating additional gateway chambers, you will have also activated a portion of something even greater, the Gateway Fast Travel Network. When fully activated, the Gateway Fast Travel Network allows you to quickly travel from place to place via teleportation. That's right, teleportation. The Gateway Fast Travel Network will take you to great heights and great depths and everywhere in between. But for right now, it will only allow you to teleport between surface elevation bright nodes. Now that might not seem too useful at first glance, but let's consider the possibilities. We know that from Astroneer Academy 204 that you can craft a new tractor and all of its power needs and take it with you to a new planet. So why not do that on this planet too? You can easily carry a tractor, trailer, battery, and your choice of power producer on your backpack. You can then use the Gateway Fast Travel Network to travel halfway across the planet, unpack that tractor, and then begin exploring parts of the planet that you may not have ever seen before. And of course, you can even set up small remote bases at each gateway chamber if you wish to do so. But whatever you do, remember to take a source of oxygen with you. Unless you've walked around the circumference of each planet and then to each of the poles dropping tethers, you're not going to have a tether network to supply you with life-giving oxygen. So whether you take a packaged tractor, resin for oxygen filters, or just a backpack full of oxygen tanks, please be prepared. If you travel via the Gateway Fast Travel Network and you forget to tend to your oxygen needs, you're going to be stuck retrieving anything of value from your backpack, which is now located half a world away. Now, we need to come back to the odd stone for just a moment. You may not realize it, but when you gaze into the odd stone, you're actually looking at a map of the planet on which you're standing. I know, it doesn't really look like any map that you've seen before, but it is a map all the same. Each surface elevation node has a corresponding number, and each of those numbers corresponds to the same geographic point no matter which planet you're on. As you travel from chamber to chamber, the orientation of the node will remain the same. The north pole of a planet will always be node number 3. If you follow a line to the center of the map to the other side, you come to node 4, which will always be the south pole. Following what we know about a compass, we can then deduce that node 6 is east and node 5 is west. But there's 4 gateway chambers on the equator of each planet. What do we call those other 2? More east and more west? Well, no, we don't. There was a meme that sprung up amongst the very first group of astroneers sent out to explore by exodynamics. Since a compass only has 4 cardinal directions, these early astroneers needed names for the other 2 points. And thus, Zorth was born for node 2, I'm guessing because it's always at the top of the map, thus making it the Zorth pole, and Weast became the name for the other node. Why Weast? Because somebody thought it would be funny if our directions had 2 different W words. I told you, it's a meme. what'd you expect? Navigating the map is much simpler, and thankfully entirely free of memes, on the 2 moons in our solar system. Since they each only have 2 gateway chambers, they each only have 2 nodes. You are free to decide which one you want to call east and which one's going to be west, because I'm not entirely certain that particular mystery of the gateway chambers has been solved. Before we wrap up our discussion of gateway chambers, nodes, and the fast travel network, it's time for a much longer than usual pro tip. While I truly doubt that I was the first person to make this discovery, I had not yet seen anybody utilize what I'm about to share with you. So here's a pro tip on activating all gateway chambers on a planet in about 25 minutes. While jetpacks are a topic we have not yet discussed, it seems that every recruit with enough bytes and resources has taken upon themselves to strap a pair of combustion engines to their back while also carrying about a highly explosive material. I suppose that's not entirely a bad thing because jetpacks do come into play for this pro tip. But you're going to need a lot more than just jetpacks. You'll also need a large platform B, a large storage, 4 medium storage silos, an RTG, an oxygenator, 2 oxygen tanks, plus a whole lot of lithium and ammonium. You will also want to carry along the strongest drill mod you have available, and possibly even a boost mod, just in case some of the gateway chambers are partially encased in the side of a mountain. Combine all of that ammonium with some hydrogen and create as much hydrazine as possible. Of course, you do that using the chemistry lab that we discussed in Astroneer Academy 202. Store as much hydrazine as you can in your backpack and place the rest on 2 of the storage silos. Next, make 48 small batteries. Yes, seriously, 48. You might not need them on Silva, but once you get to Glacio and Atrox, even those 48 batteries are going to struggle. Place those 48 batteries on the 2 remaining storage silos. Now, attach all 4 medium storage silos to your large storage, and then place that large storage on the Tier 3 storage slot of the large platform B. Place your RTG on one of the Tier 2 slots, and your oxygenator on the other one. Congratulations! You have just built a portable gateway activation station. Using the built-in compass, locate north. Now simply pick up the large platform B and, using your jetpacks, take to the skies and head north. Be certain you keep an eye on your oxygen levels as you're mid-air. Even though the platform has an oxygenator, it is not supplying oxygen while you fly. If you begin to run low on oxygen, simply look for a safe place to land, place the platform on the ground, and let your oxygen tanks refill. Then resume your trip to the North Pole. Once you arrive at the North Pole, plug a power cable from the platform into one of the power plugs on the gateway chamber, wait 30 seconds, and you've just activated the gateway. Of course, that RTG is also going to start recharging the batteries. Now, head southeast, or if you want, southwest. It doesn't really matter, just pay attention to which one you choose. If you keep on course, you should see a gateway chamber on the equator appear just as you begin to run low on oxygen. Land at the gateway chamber and repeat the process used at the North Pole. Now head east, unless of course you went southwest earlier, then head west. If you gain enough altitude to clear the trees, hazards, and mountains, you should arrive at the next gateway chamber just as you receive your first low oxygen warning. Keep flying from gateway chamber along the equator, repeating this activation process until you have all 4 of them activated. Now head due south and go activate that 6th and final gateway. With a bit of practice, you should be able to activate all 6 gateways on one planet in roughly 25 minutes. Of course, the 2 moons of our solar system will go even quicker since they each only have 2 gateway chambers. And when you have finished activating every gateway chamber on every planet and moon, you can return to your home base and put that RTG and 48 batteries to good use, such as maybe finally fully powering your research chamber. With all of this information, you are now prepared to activate gateway chambers quickly and utilize a portion of the Gateway Fast Travel Network. In our next course, Astroneer Academy 206, we're going to be setting aside our usual format and instead look at how you can earn some bragging rights by completing 19 different achievements. And we might even have a very special guest for that course. But until then, I'm Brandon, reminding you to stay vainglorious.